Good afternoon, friends. Ma Debbie and Mother Beatrice here with you on Holy Saturday. And today we're reading about the return to the supper room and the evening of Good Friday. This is the continuation of the Holy Saturday readings in preparation for tomorrow's resurrection service. So Mother Beatrice will begin.
Okay. Joseph of Arimathea puts out one of the torches. He has a last look around and goes to the opening of the sepulchre, holding up high the remaining torch still lit. Mary bends once again to kiss her son through his wrappings, and she would like to do so, controlling her grief, to contain it in a form of respect for the corpse, which, being already embalmed, no longer belongs to her. But when she is close to the veiled face, she is unable to control herself and relapses into a new crisis of affliction. They lift her with difficulty, and with great difficulty they take her away from the funeral bed. They rearrange the clothes that have been upset, and carrying her rather than supporting her, they take her away, the poor mother, who goes off looking back to see her Jesus, who is left alone in the dark sepulchre. They go into the silent vegetable garden in the evening light, the faint light that has cleared away the tragedy of Golgotha, and it is already growing darker as night is falling. And in there, under the thick branches, although still bare of leaves, and just adorned with white-pink buds of the blossoming apple trees, strangely late in the orchard of Joseph, whereas elsewhere they are already all covered with open blossoms showing their tiny fruit. It is darker than in any other place. They roll the heavy sepulchre stone into its lodging. Some long branches of a ruffled rosebush hanging from the top of the grotto toward the ground seems to be knocking at the stone door, saying, "Why are you closing before a weeping mother?" And they also seem to be weeping drops of blood as they shed their red petals, and their corollas lie along the dark stone, and the closed buds knock against the inexorable door. But soon more bloodstains than sepulchre door, and more tears wet it. Mary, who so far has been supported by John and has been sobbing rather quickly, frees herself from the apostle, and with a cry, which I think makes the very fibers of the plants quiver, throws herself against the entrance. She gets hold of the protruding stone to shift it. She skins her fingers and breaks her nails without being successful, and pries the rough stone even with her head. And her cries, like the roar of a lioness that wounds herself struggling near the trap in which her little one is closed, being compassionate and wild out of motherly love. There is nothing left in her of the meek Virgin of Nazareth, of the patient woman, as we know so far. She is the mother, only and simply a mother, attached to her child with all the fibers and nerves of her body and of her love. She is the most true mistress of the body to which she has given birth, the only mistress after God, and she does not want to be robbed of her property. She is the queen who is defending her crown, her son. All the rebellion and rebellious acts that in 33 years any other woman would have had against the injustice of the world for her son, all the holy and lawful fierceness that any other mother would have felt during these last hours to wound and kill the murderer of her son with her own hands and teeth, all such feelings with which her love for mankind she has always subdued now stirs in her heart. They boil in her blood, and, meek as she ever is in her grief that makes her rave, she does not curse, she does not rebel. She only asks the stone to move aside, to let her go in, because her place is in there, where he is. She only asks men who are pitiless to have pity, to obey her and to open the sepulchre. After striking and straining the unrelenting stone with the blood of her lips and hands, she turns round. She leans against it with her arms stretched out, gripping the two edges of the stone once again, and solemn in her majesty of Our Lady of Sorrow, she orders, "Open it. I do not want to. Well, I am staying here, not inside. Well, here, outside. Here is my bread. Here is my bed. Here is my abode. I have no other home, no other purpose. You may go. Go back to the world, which is disgusting. I am staying where there is no avidity or smell of blood." "You cannot, woman. You cannot, mother. You cannot, Mary, my dear." And they try to detach her hands from the stone, while they are frightened of those eyes, which they have never seen before, flashing in such a way that makes them look hard and irresistible and even phosphorescent. The meek are not overbearing, and the humble do not persist in pride, and Mary's vehement will and imperious command soon vanishes. Her eyes become meek again, like those of a tortured dove. Her gestures are no longer imposing, and she lowers her head in a beseeching attitude, and joining her hands, she begs them, "Oh, do not leave me, for the sake of your dead relatives, for the sake of the living ones whom you love. Have mercy on a poor mother. Feel my heart. It needs peace to stop throbbing so fiercely. It began throbbing thus there on Calvary. The hammer went bang, 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 and with each blow wounded my child, and each blow resounded in my brain and in my heart. And my head is full of those blows, and my heart is beating fast, as those blows did on my hands and feet of my Jesus, and my little Jesus, my child, my child." She is overwhelmed again by her torture, which seems to have been appeased after her prayer to the Father near the anointing table. They are all weeping. I need not to hear shouts or bangs, and the world is full of voices and noises. Every voice sounds to me like the great cry that curdles the blood in my veins, and every noise sounds that of a hammer striking the nail. I need not to see men's faces, and the world is full of faces. For almost 12 hours I have been seeing faces of killers, Judas, the executioners, the priests, the Judeans. They are all killers, all of them. Go away, I do not want to see anybody anymore. In every man there is a wolf and a snake. Man disguises and frightens me. Leave me here under this quiet tree on this flowery grass. Before long the stars will begin to shine. They have always been his friend and mine. Yesterday evening they kept us company in our lonely agony. They know so many things. They come from God. Oh God, God, she weeps and kneels down. Peace, my God, I am left with nothing but you. Come, my daughter, God will give you peace, but come, tomorrow is the Passover Sabbath. We shall not be able to come and bring you food. Nothing, I do not want any food. I want my child. I will appease my hunger with my grief. I will quench my thirst with my tears. Hear, can you hear? Hear how the horned owl is weeping. It is weeping with me, and before long nightingales will be weeping. And tomorrow, in the sunshine, woodlarks and blackcaps and all the birds he loved will weep. And doves will come with me to knock at the stone and say, "Rise, my love, come." Love, who are in the large fissure of the rock, in the hiding place of the raven, let me see your face. Let me hear your voice. Ah, what am I saying? They also, the wicked killers, have called him with the word of the canticle. Yes, come, daughters of Jerusalem, to see your king with the disdain with which his fatherland crowned him on the day of his wedding with death, on the day of his triumph as Redeemer. Look, Mary, the guards of the temple are coming. Let us go away so that they may not scorn you. The guards? Scorn? No, they are cowardly. Yes, cowardly. And if I, dreadful in my grief, should march against them, they would flee like Satan before God. But I remember that I am Mary, and I will not strike as I would be entitled to. I will be good, and they will not even see me. And if they see me and ask me, what do you want? I will say to them, the charity of being allowed to breathe the balmy air coming from this fissure. I will say, in the name of your mothers, everybody has a mother. Also, the pitiful robber said so. But these men are worse than robbers. They will insult you. Oh, and is there still an insult of which I am not aware after today? It is the Magdalene who finds a reason capable of bending the sorrowful mother to obedience. You are good, you are holy, and you believe, and you are strong. But what are we? You are aware of it. The majority have run away. Those who have remained are trembling. The doubt which is already in us would overwhelm us. You are the mother. You have not only duties and rights on your son, but also duties and rights on what belongs to your son. You must come back with us, among us, to gather together, to reassure us, to infuse your faith into us. You said so after your just reproach of our timidity and misbelief. It will be easier for him to rise if he is free from the useless bandages. I say to you, if we succeed in being united in the faith in his resurrection, he will rise earlier. We will invoke him with our love. Mother, Mother of my Savior, come back with us, since you are the love of God to give us this love of yours. Do you want poor Mary of Magdala to get lost again? After he served her with so much pity? No, I would be reproached for that. You are right. I must go back and look for the apostles, the disciples, the relatives, everybody, and say to them, have faith. Say, he forgives you. Whom have I already told so? Ah, the Iscariot. I will have to. Mary remains with her hands bent on her breast, trembling as if she were disgusted. And then she says, John, you will look for him, and you will bring him to me. You must do that, and I must do that. Father, let also this be done for the redemption of mankind. Let us go. She stands up. They leave the half-dark vegetable garden. The guards look at them, go out without saying anything. The road, dusty and thrown into a mess by the stream of people who went along it, striking it with their feet with stones, and ruts around Calvary and arrives at the main road, which is parallel to the wall. And the traces of what had happened are even clearer here. Twice Mary uttered a cry, and she stopped to examine the ground in the feeble light, because she seems to see some blood, and she thinks it is the blood of her Jesus. But it is nothing but tatters of cloth torn off. I think in the confusion of the fight, the little stream that flows along the road, bubbly soft in the deep silence, which has fallen everywhere, and the town seems to be forlorn, as nothing but silence comes from it. They are now at the little bridge that leads to the steep Calvary road, and in front of it there is the judicial gate. Before disappearing in there, Mary turns round to look at the top of Calvary, and she weeps desolately. Then she says, "Let us go. But leave me. I do not want to see Jerusalem, its streets, its inhabitants." Yes, but let us be quick. They are about to close the gate, and see, the guards have been reinforced. Rome is afraid of turmoil. Quite rightly. Jerusalem is a den of tigers. It is a tribe of killers. It is a rabble of robbers. And those usurpers aim with their fangs not only at property, but also at lives. For 32 years they have laid snare for the life of my child. He was a little lamb of milk and roses, with golden curly hair. He could hardly say mummy, and take his first step, and laugh with his few teeth between his lips of pear coral, when they came to slaughter him. How, now, they say that he had blasphemed and infringed the Sabbath and incited people to revolt and aimed at a throne and sinned with women. But they had not, but what had he done then? Watched blasphemers. My, could he have uttered, if I could hardly call him mommy, what law could he infringe? If he, the eternal innocent, then was also the little innocent child of man, what revolt could he stir if he was not even able to be naughty? What throne could he aim at? He had his throne both on earth and in heaven, and he did not seek any other. In heaven he had his Father's bosom, on the earth my lap. He never cast a sensual glance, and you young beautiful women can confirm that. But then, his senses were confined to the needs of warmth and nourishment. He made love, yes, but to my tepid breast, to lay his little face on it, and to sleep. Yes, and to my round nipple, from which my love flowed as milk. Oh, my child, they want you dead. That is what they wanted to deprive you of, your life, your only treasure. They wanted to deprive the mother of her son, the son of his mother, to make us the most miserable and desolate people in the universe. Why deprive the living one of his life? Why unduly claim the right to remove this thing that is life? The gift of the flower and of the animal, the gift of man. My Jesus asked nothing of you, neither money, nor jewels, nor house. He had a house, a little holy one, and he left it out of love for you, you man hyenas. For your sake he had given up whatever the young one of an animal he has, and poor and alone, he had gone through the world without even a bed that the just one had made for him, without even the bread his mother used to make for him. And he had slept wherever he could, and he had eaten as he was able, in the house of kind people, like every son of man, or on the grass of a meadow, watched over by stars, sitting at a table, or sharing the grains of corn or wild blackberries with the birds of God. And he did not ask you for anything. On the contrary, he gave you what he had. He only wanted to live, to give you the life with his word. And all of you, and you, Jerusalem, have deprived him of his life. Are you sated and fed with his blood and his flesh? Or are you not yet satisfied? And you, a hyena, after being a vampire and a vulture, do you want to feed on his corpse, and not yet satisfied with the tortures? Do you still want to be pitiless and take delight in disfiguring his remains and seeing once again his spasms, his sobs and convulsions in me, the mother of the murdered one? Have we arrived? Why are you stopping? What does that man want of Joseph? What is he saying?
Joseph, in fact, has been stopped by one of the rare passers-by, and in the dead silence of the deserted town, their words are heard very clearly. It is known that you have entered Pilate's house. You are a violator of the law. You will answer for that. Passover is interdicted to you. You are contaminated. And you too, Helkai. You have touched me, and I am all covered with the blood of Christ and with the sweat of his death. Ah, horror, away, away with that blood. Be not afraid, it has already abandoned and cursed you. And you as well, you cursed one. And now that you are flirting with Pilate, don't think that you can take the corpse away. We have taken the necessary steps to ensure that the story comes to an end. Nicodemus has approached them slowly, while the women have stopped with John leaning against a closed portal. We have seen that, replies Joseph. Cowards, you are afraid even of a dead body. But of my vegetable garden and of my sepulchre, I do what I like. We shall see. We shall see. I will appeal to Pilate. Yes, fornicate with Rome now. Nicodemus moves forward. Better with Rome than with the demon, as you deicides do. In any case, tell me, how come you are plucking up courage again? A moment ago you were running away, a prey to terror. Are you recovering already? Is what you had not sufficient yet? Was your house not burnt down? Tremble. The punishment is not over. On the contrary, it is coming. Like the nemesis of the heathens, it is impending over you. Neither guards or seals will prevent the avenger from rising and striking. Cursed! Helkai runs away and goes and knocks against the women. He realizes that and utters a dreadful insult against Mary. John does not say one word. With the leap of a panther, he clings to him and knocks him down, and pressing him with his knees and holding his hands round his neck, he says to him, "Ask her to forgive you, or I will strangle you, you demon." And he does not relax his hold until the other, pressed and half choked by John's hands, utters gaspingly, "Forgive me." But his cry has attracted the attention of the patrol. "Halt there! What's happening? Further seditions? Stand still, all of you, or you will be struck. Who are you?" Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus, who have been authorized by the proconsul to bury the Nazarene who has been put to death. And we are coming back from the sepulchre with his mother, a son, and women relatives and friends. This man offended the mother and has been compelled to ask her forgiveness. Only that? You should have cut his throat. You may go. Soldiers, arrest that man. What else do these vampires want? Also the hearts of mothers? Hail, Judeans. How horrible. But they are no longer men. John, be good to them. Take into consideration the memory of me and of my Jesus. He preached forgiveness. Mother, you are right, but they are criminals and they make me lose my head. They are sacrilegious, they offend you, and I cannot allow that. Yes, they are criminals, and they know that they are. Look how few there are in the streets and how those few slink away. After committing a crime, delinquents are afraid. It horrifies me to see them flee thus, enter houses and barricade themselves there out of fear. I fear that they are all guilty of the deicide. Look over there, Mary, at that old man. He already has a foot in the grave, and yet not that he is illuminated by the light of that door that is opened. I think I saw him march past, accusing my Jesus up there on Calvary. He called him a robber, my Jesus, a robber. That young man, a little more than a boy, uttered obscene blasphemies, invoking his blood upon himself. Oh, the wretch! And that man, so brawny and strong, will he have refrained from striking him? Oh, I do not want to see. Look, the faces of their souls are superimposed on the faces of their bodies, and they no longer look like men, but like demons. So fearless they were against the man who had been tied and crucified. And now they run away. They hide themselves. They shut themselves up. They are afraid of whom? Of a dead body. He is nothing but a dead body as far as they are concerned, but they deny that he is God. So, of what are they afraid? Upon whom are they shutting their doors? Upon remorse, upon punishment. It is of no avail. Remorse is within you, and it will follow you forever. And the punishment is not a human one. And locks and sticks, doors and bars are of no use against it. It descends from heaven, from God, the avenger of his sacrificed Son, and it penetrates through walls and doors, and with its heavenly flame, it marks you for the supernatural punishment awaiting you. The world will come to the Christ, to the Son of God and mine. It will come to him whom you have pierced, but you will be those marked forever, the Cains of a God, marked as the dishonor of the human race. I, who was born of you, I, who am the mother of everybody, must say that with regard to me, your daughter, you have been more than stepfathers, and that in the immense number of my children, you are the ones who impose the greatest fatigue on me in receiving you, because you are soiled with the crime against my child. Neither do you repent, saying, you are the Messiah. We acknowledge and worship you. Here is another Roman patrol. Love is no longer on the earth. There is no more peace among men, and hatred and war are agitated like those smoky torches. The rulers are afraid of the unrestrained crowd. By experience they know that when that wild beast named man has tasted the flavor of blood, he becomes avid of slaughter. But be not afraid of these men. They are neither royal lions nor panthers. They are verily very cowardly hyenas. They rush upon defenseless lambs, but they are afraid of the lion armed with lances and authority. Do not fear these creeping jackals. The sound of your steps with hobnailed boots puts them to flight, and your shining lances make them meeker than rabbits. Those lances, one of them slit the heart of my son. Which of them? Their sight pierces my heart, and yet I should like to have them all in my trembling hands, to see which is the one that still has traces of blood, and say, it is this one. Give me it, soldier. Give it to the mother in remembrance of your faraway mother, and I will pray for her and for you. And no soldier would deny me it, because they, the men on the warpath, were the best during the agony of the son and of the mother. Why did I not think of that up there? I was like one whose head had been struck. It was already stunned by those blows. Oh, those blows! Who will grant me not to hear them any more? Here in my poor head, the lance, how much I would like to have it. We can look for it, mother. The centurion seemed to be very kind to us. I do not think that he will deny it to us. I will go tomorrow. Yes, John, I am poor. I have only a little money, but I will deprive myself of it to the last farthing to have that lance. Oh, why did I not ask for it then? Mary, my dear, none of us were aware of that wound. When you saw it, the soldiers were far away. That is true. Grief has made me feeble-minded. And his clothes, I have nothing of what belonged to him. I would give my blood to have them. Mary weeps again desolately. And she arrives thus in the street, where is the supper room? And it is time, because she is exhausted, and she drags herself along like an old decrepit woman, and she says so. Pluck up heart, Mary, we have arrived now. Arrived? So short the road that this morning seemed so long. This morning? Was it this morning, not before? How many hours and how many ages have gone by since I came here yesterday evening and since I left it this morning? Is it really I, the 50-year-old mother of a very aged woman, a woman of many years ago, laden with years on my bent shoulders and on my white hair? I seem to have lived all the sorrow of the world, and that it is all on my shoulders, which bend under its weight. An incorporeal cross, but so heavy, of stone, perhaps even heavier than my Jesus's, because I carry my cross and his, with the remembrance of his torture and with the reality of my torment. Let us go in, because we must go in, but it is no consolation. It is an increase of sorrow. My son came in through this door for his last meal, and he went out through it to face death, and he had to put his foot where his traitor had put it. when he went out to call those who had to capture the innocent. I saw Judas at that door. I saw Judas, and I did not curse him, but I spoke to him as a mother whose heart was torn apart because of the good son and of the wicked one. I saw Judas. I saw the demon in him. I, who have always held Lucifer under my heel, and looking only at God, I never lowered my eyes on Satan. I recognized his face looking at the traitor. I spoke to the demon, and he ran away because he cannot bear my voice. Will he have left him now, so that I may speak to that dead body, and I, the mother, may conceive him again with the blood of a God, and bring him forth to grace? John, swear to me that you will look for him, and that you will not be cruel to him. I am not, although I should be entitled to. Oh, let me go into that room where my Jesus had his last meal, where the voice of my child spoke his last words in peace. Yes, we shall go. But now look, come here, where we were yesterday. Have a rest. Say goodbye to Joseph and Nicodemus, who are withdrawing. Yes, I will say goodbye to them. Oh, I say goodbye to them. I thank them. I bless them. Come, do come. You will do so at your leisure. No, here, Joseph. Oh, I have not known anybody with this name who did not love me. Mary of Alphaeus bursts into tears. Do not weep. Joseph also. It was out of love that your son was mistaking. He wanted to give me peace in a human way, but today you saw him. Oh, all the Josephs are kind to Mary. Joseph, I thank you, and you, Nicodemus. My heart prostrates itself under your feet, which are tired because of the long way you have gone for him, for the last honors paid to him. I have but my heart to give you, and I give it to you, the loyal friends of my son. And excuse a mother with a pierced heart for the words I spoke to you in the sepulchre. O Holy Mother, do forgive us, says Nicodemus. Be good now, rest in your faith. We will come tomorrow, adds Joseph. Yes, we will come. We are at your disposal. It is Sabbath tomorrow, objects the mistress of the house. The Sabbath is dead. We will come. The Lord be with you. And they go away. Come, Mary. Yes, come, Mother. No, open. You promised to do so after the greetings. Open this door. You cannot close it to a mother who is trying to breathe the smell of the breath of the body of her child in the air of the room. But do you not know that I gave him that breath and that body? I, who carried him for 9 months, who gave birth to him, suckled him, brought him up and took care of him. That breath is mine. The smell of that body is mine. It is mine, and it has become more beautiful in my Jesus. Let me smell it once again. Yes, dear, tomorrow. You are tired now. You are burning with fever. You are not well. Yes, I am not well, because in my eyes I have the sight of his blood, and in my nose the smell of his body covered with sores. Let me see the table on which he leaned when he was alive and healthy, and let me smell the scent of his youthful body. Open it. Do not bury him for the 3rd time. You have already concealed him under spices and bandages. Then you have shut him up under the stone. Why now deny a mother the possibility of finding any last trace of him in the breath he left behind this door? Let me go in. On the floor, on the table, on the seats, I will look for traces of his feet, of his hands, and I will kiss them. I will kiss them until I consume my lips, and I will search. Perhaps I shall find a fair hair of his head, a hair not encrusted with blood. But do you know what a hair of a son means for a mother? You, Mary of Clopas, you, Salome, are mothers. And do you not understand? John, listen to me. I am your mother. He has made me such. He did. You must obey me. Open the door. I love you, John. I have always loved you, because you loved him. I will love you even more, but open the door. Open it, I say. Do you not want to? Do you not want to? Ah, so I no longer have a son. Jesus never refused me anything because he was my son. You are refusing. You are not a son. You do not understand my grief. Oh, John, forgive me. Forgive me. Open. Do not weep. Open. Oh, Jesus, listen to me. Let your Spirit work a miracle. Open to your poor mother this door that nobody wants to open. Jesus, Jesus. With clenched fists, Mary knocks at the little closed door. It is a paroxysm of torture until she turns pale, and while whispering, "Oh my Jesus, I am coming, I am coming," she collapses without strength into the arms of the weeping women, who support her to prevent her from falling at the floor at the foot of the door, and they carry her thus into the room in front of it.
The night of Good Friday. Mary, assisted by the weeping woman, come to herself, and she weeps without having any other strength but that of shedding tears. It really seems that her life must flow and be consumed completely in her tears. They want to give her some refreshment. Martha offers her some wine. The mistress of the house would like her to take at least some honey. Mary of Alphaeus, kneeling in front of her, offers her a cup of lukewarm milk, saying, "I milked it myself from little Rachel's goat." Rachel must be a daughter of the people who live in the home. I do not know whether as tenants or as keepers. But Mary does not want anything. She weeps. She can only weep. And she asks and hears them promise that they will look for the apostles and disciples, for the lamps and Jesus' garments, and that at the break of day, since they do not want to let her go now, they will let her go into the supper room. "Yes, if you calm down a little, if you rest a little, I will take you there," says her sister-in-law. "We shall both go in, and on my knees I shall look for every trace of Jesus on your behalf." And Mary of Alphaeus sobs, "But look, here you have the chalice and the bread broken by him and used by him for the Eucharist. Is there a holier souvenir? See, John brought them for you this morning, so that you might see them this evening. Poor John, he is over there and is weeping and is afraid." "Afraid? Why? Come here, John." John comes from out of the shade because in the room there is only a little lamp placed on the table near the objects of the Passion. And he kneels at the feet of Mary, who caresses him and asks, "Why are you afraid?" And John, kissing her hands and weeping, replies, "Because you are not well. You are feverish and worried, and you are not tranquil. And if you continue so, you will die as he did." "Oh, I wish that was true." "No, mother. Oh, it is more pleasant to say Mama, as I say to my mother. Let me say so. But as I find no difference between you and my mother, and I even love you more than I love her, because you are the mother whom he gave me, and you are his mother. So do not make too great a difference between the son born of you and the son that has been given to you. And love me a little as you love him. If it were he who said to you, 'I am afraid that you will die,' what would you reply? 'Oh, I wish it was true'? No, you would say that, on the contrary, you would be sorry to go away and leave him. Him, your lamb, is in a world of wolves, and you do not grieve for me. I am so much more a lamb than he was, not through goodness and purity, but through stupidity and fear. If I am left without you, poor John will be torn to pieces by wolves without uttering a bleat that speaks of his master. Do you want me to die so, without serving him, as stupid in death as in life? No, you do not. Do you? So, mother, try to calm down for his sake. Oh, oh, do you not say that he will rise from the dead? Yes, you do, and it is true. Then when he rises, do you want him to find the house destroyed, devoid of you? Because he will certainly come here. Oh, poor Jesus, if instead of hearing your cry of love, he should hear your cries of grief. If instead of finding your breast to rest his tortured, glorious head on, he finds your closed sepulchre, you must live to greet him when he comes back. I do not say to our love, we deserve all kinds of reproach because of our behavior, but to your love, oh, what meeting will it be? And what will he be like, Mother of Wisdom, Mama of the most ignorant John? Since you know everything, tell us what he will be like when he appears after raising from the dead. The sores of Lazarus' legs were healed, but one could see their marks, and he appeared wrapped in bandages full of rottenness, says Martha. We had to watch him and wash him all over, added Mary, and then he was weak, and we had to feed him by his orders. The son of the widow of Nain looked bewildered, and he was like a child, unable to walk and speak without difficulty. So much so that he gave back to his mother, so that she might teach him to use the gift of life once again. And he himself guided the first steps of Jairus' little daughter, says John. I think that my Lord will send an angel to us to say, come with a clean garment, and my love has already prepared it. It is in the mansion. I could not spin it, but I had it spun by my wet nurse, who is no longer worried about my future and does not weep anymore. I got the most precious linen, and I received the purple from Platonia and Naomi. And Naomi wove the border, and I made the belt and the bag and the talith, embroidering them by night, not to be seen. I learned from you, Mother. It is not perfect, but rather that of the pearls forming his name on the belt and on the bag. It is made beautifully by the diamonds of my tears of love and my kisses. Every stitch is a throb of devotion for him, and I will take it to him. You will allow me, will you not? Oh, I did not think that they would deprive him of his garments. I am not familiar with the practices of the world and with its ferocity. I thought that I was aware of it, and tears once again streamed down her pale cheeks. But I see that I did not know anything, and I was thinking, he will give the garments made by his mother afterwards. He liked it so much, he wanted it, and he had told me such a long time ago, you will make a tunic in such a manner, and you will bring it to me for Passover, because Jerusalem must see me in the purple garment of a king. Oh, that wool, whiter than snow, while I spun it, it was the coming red in the eyes of God and mine, because my heart was wounded once again by the word, and the other wounds, after years and months, if they had not healed, has dried up by dripping blood, but everyone, every day, every hour, turned the sword around on my heart. 1 day less, 1 hour less, then he will be dead. Oh, my heart. And the yarn on the spindle and on the loom became red. Then it was steeped in the dye for the world, but it was already red. Mary weeps again. They try to comfort her, speaking of her about the resurrection. And Susanna asked, what do you say? What will he be like when he rises? And how will he rise? And Mary, bewildered and blinded in this hour of redeeming martyrdom, replies, I do not know. I do not know anything anymore, except that he is dead. She bursts into tears again and kisses the linen cloth that Jesus had laid upon his hips, and she pressed it to her heart and lulled it as if it were a baby. And she touches the nails, the thorns, the sponge, and shouts, these are the things that your fatherland gave you. All the sons of Israel, a man from Cyrene had to be chosen to carry the cross for you. That man is as sacred to me as a spouse. And if I knew another one who had helped my son, I would kiss his feet. So no one took pity on him. Go out, go away. It grieves me even to see you, because amongst all of you, you were not able to obtain even a less cruel torture. Useless and idle servants of your king, go out. She is dreadful in her outbursts, standing stiff and looking even taller with her imperious eyes, her arms stretched out, pointing to the door. She comments like a queen on her throne. They all leave without reacting to avoid exciting her more, and they sit outside the closed door, listening to her moaning and to any noise that she might make. But after the noise of a chair pushing aside and her knees falling on the floor, because she kneels down with her head against the table on which are the objects of the passion, they can only hear her weeping unceasingly and disconsolately. She whispers, but in such a low voice that they outside cannot hear her. Father, Father, forgive me. I am becoming proud and bad, but you see that what I say is true. There were crowds around him, and all Palestine during these festivals is inside the holy wall. Holy? No, no longer holy. They would have remained such if he had breathed his last within them. But Jerusalem rejected him like a nauseating regurgitation, so only the crime is in Jerusalem. Well, of all the people that follow him, they were not able to gather a handful of men who could impose themselves. I do not mean to save him, because he had to die to redeem, but to let him die without so much torture. They remained in the shade, or they ran away. My heart revolts at such cowardness. I am the mother, so forgive me my sin of proud harshness. And she weeps. Outside, the others are on tenterhooks for many reasons. The master of the house has gone out to stroll around curiously, coming back in and brings dreadful news. They say that many people died in the earthquake. Many were wounded in scuffles between followers of the Nazarenes and the Jews, and many have been arrested, and that there will be more executions because of the rebellions and threats to Rome. That Pilate has given orders to arrest all the followers of the Nazarene and the leaders of the Sanhedrin who are present in town and had already run away through Palestine. That Joanna is dying in her mansion. That Manasseh has been arrested by Herod, whom he insulted in the presence of all the court as an accomplice of the decided. In brief, a pile of catastrophic news. The women moan, not so much out of fear for themselves, but for their sons and husbands. Susanna thinks of her husband, who is known as one of Jesus' followers in Galilee. Mary of Zebedee thinks of her husband, who is the guest of a friend, and her son, James, of whom she has no news since the previous evening. And Martha says sobbingly, perhaps they have gone to Bethany, who did not know what Lazarus was for the Master. But he is protected by Rome, retorts Mary Salome. Oh, protected, considering how much the chiefs of Israel hate us. Who knows what charges they will make up to Pilate to have against him. Oh God, Martha, not knowing which way to turn, shouts, the arms. The house is full of them, and also the mansion. I know, this morning at dawn, Levi the guardian came, and he told me, but you know as well and you told the Jews on Calvary, 'Fools, you have put in the hands of the cruel people the weapons to kill Lazarus.' I said, 'No, I did. I spoke the truth without knowing. But be quiet, you chicken-hearted women. What I said is the safest guarantee for Lazarus. They will be weary of venturing or searching while they know that there are arms. They are cowards. Yes, the Jews are, but the Romans are not. I am not afraid of Rome. She is just and peaceful in her provisions.' Mary is right," says John. Longinus said to me, "I hope you will be left alone, but if you are not, come or send someone to the praetorium." Pilate is benign toward the followers of the Nazarene. He was generous also toward him. "We will defend you." But if the Jews act by themselves, it was they who captured Jesus yesterday evening. And if they say that we are desecrators, they are entitled to capture us. "Oh, my sons, I have 4 of them. What will Joseph and Simon be?" They went on Calvary, and later they came down with Johanna and were unable to resist. They came down to help and defend the women. They, the shepherds, and Alphaeus, all of them. Oh, they will certainly have already killed them. Did you hear that Johanna is dying? It is certainly because she has been wounded. And before the mob could strike a woman, they must have defended her and were killed. And Judas and James, oh, my little Judas, my darling, and James, a kind of a gift. Oh, I have no children left. I am the mother of the Maccabean children. All the women weep desperately, except the mistress of the house, who has gone to look for a hiding place for her husband, and Mary Magdalene, who is not weeping. But her eyes are full of fire, and she has become the authoritative woman of days gone by. She does not speak, but she darts angry looks at her dejected companions, and in her eyes one can read an epitaph very clearly: cowards. Some time goes by. Now and again one stands up, opens the door slowly, casts a glance, and closes the door again. "What is she doing?" asked the others. And the person who has looked answered, "She is always on her knees. She is praying. She seems to be speaking to someone. And also, she has gotten up and she is walking up and down the room."
Lament of the Blessed Virgin. Jesus, 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 where are you? Can you still hear me? Can you hear your poor, poor mother, who is now shouting your name after keeping it in her heart for so many hours? Your holy, blessed name that has been my love, the love of my lips which tasted the flavor of honey, repeating your name, of my lips which now instead, when they mention it, seem to be drinking the bitterness left on your lips, the bitterness of the terrible mixture. Your name, the love of my heart that swelled with joy when repeating it, as it had swelled to pour off its blood and receive you and clothe you with it, when you descended into me from heaven, so small, so tiny, that you could have rested in the calyx of wild mint. You, so great, the mighty one, humiliated in the embryo of man for the salvation of the world. Your name, grief of my heart, now that you have been torn from the world. Your name, now that you have been torn away from the caresses of your mother, to throw you into the arms of the executioners who have tortured you to death. My heart has been crushed by your name, that I had to keep within me for so many hours, and whose cry increased more and more as your sorrow increased, until it crushed it, as if it had been trodden on by the foot of a giant. Oh, my sorrow is a giant, and it crushes me, it shatters me, and there is nothing that can alleviate it.
To whom shall I mention your name? Nothing replies to my cry. Even if I shouted so loud that I split the stone closing your sepulchre, you would not hear me, because you are dead. You cannot hear your mother anymore. How many times have I called you, son, during these 34 years, since I learned that I was to be a mother and that my little one was to be named Jesus? You were not yet born, and I, caressing my womb in which you were growing, used to call in a low voice, Jesus, and you seemed to move to say, Mummy, to me. I had already given you a voice, and I dreamed of your voice. I could hear it before it existed, and when I did hear it, as faint as that of a newborn lamb, tremble in the cold night in which you were born, I became acquainted with the abyss of joy, and I thought that I had become acquainted with the abyss of sorrow, because it was weeping, the weeping of my baby who was so cold, who was uncomfortable, who was shedding his first tears of Redeemer, and I had neither fire nor cradle, and I could not suffer for you. Instead, Jesus, I had but my lap as a fire and cushion, and my love to worship you, my holy Son. I thought that I had become acquainted with the abyss of sorrow. It was the dawn of that sorrow. It was the edge of that sorrow. Now it is the broad noon. Now it is the bottom. This is the abyss, this which I am touching now after descending into it during these 34 hours, driven by so many things and prostrated today in the horrible bottom of your cross. When you were a little baby, I used to lull you singing, Jesus, Jesus. Which harmony is there more beautiful and holy than this name, which makes the angels smile in heaven? To me it was more beautiful than the song, so sweet, of the angels the night of your birth. I could see heaven in it, the whole of heaven I could see through that name. And now, saying it to you who are dead and cannot hear me, and you do not reply to me as if you had never existed, I see hell, the whole of hell. See, now I understand what it means to be damned. It is to be no longer able to say Jesus. Horrible, horrible, horrible. How long will this hell last for your mother? You said within 3 days I will rebuild the temple. I have been repeating these words to myself all day today in order not to drop dead, to be ready to greet you when you come back and go on serving you. But how shall I be able to put up for 3 days with the knowledge that you are dead? You, my life, for 3 days dead. How come you, who know everything, because you are the infinite wisdom, are not aware of the torture of your mother? Can you not imagine it, remembering the day I lost you in Jerusalem, and you saw me squeeze through the crowd around you, looking like a shipwrecked person that touches the shore after struggling so much with waves and death? With the countenance of a woman who comes out of a torture exhausted, almost bled to death, aged and heartbroken. And then it was possible for me to think that you were just lost. I could delude myself that it was only that. But not today, not today. I know that you are dead. No illusion is possible. I saw you being killed. And even if grief should make me lose my memory, here is your blood on my veil, and it says to me, he is dead, he is bloodless. These are the last drops that gushed out of his heart, out of his heart, out of the heart of my child, of my son, of my Jesus. Oh God, merciful God, do not let me remember that they split his heart. Jesus, I cannot stay here alone while you are there all alone. I, who have never loved the roads of the world in crowds, and you know, after you left Nazareth, have more and more frequently followed you in order not to live far from you. I could not live away from you. I faced oddities and derision. I do not take into account fatigue because it was obliterated by the joy of seeing you, just to live where you were. And now I am here all alone, and you are there all alone. Why did they not leave me in your sepulchre? I would have sat beside your chilly bed, holding one hand of yours in mine, to make you feel that I was near you. No, to feel that you were close to me. You do not feel anything anymore. You are dead. How often have I spent the night near your cradle, praying, loving, taking delight in you? Shall I tell you how you slept with your little fists closed like 2 flower buds near your holy little face? Shall I tell you how you used to smile in your sleep and certainly remembering your mummy's milk? You made the gesture of sucking while sleeping. Shall I tell you how you woke up and opened your eyes and laughed, seeing me bent over your face, and you stretched your little hands joyfully as you were anxious to be taken by me? And how with a little cry as sweet as the trill of a blackcap, you claimed your food? Oh, I was happy when you clung to my breast, and I felt the smooth tepidity of your cheeks, the caresses of your little hands on my mama. You could not stay away from your mother, and now you are alone. Forgive me, son, for leaving you alone, for not rebelling for the first time in my life, and for not insisting on remaining there. It was my place. I would have felt less desolate if I had remained near your funereal bed, to arrange your clothes as in days gone by and change them. Even if you could not have smiled at and spoken to me, I would have felt as if I had you again, as when you were a baby. I would have held you to my heart in order not to make you feel the chilliness of the stone, the hardness of the marble. Did I not hold you also today? The lap of a mother is always capable of holding a son, even if he is a grown man. A son is always a baby for his mother, even if he is one who has been taken down from a cross, covered with sores and wounds. How many wounds, how much sorrow. Oh, my Jesus, so wounded, so wounded. No, no, Lord, no, it cannot be true. I am mad. Jesus dead, I am raving. Jesus cannot die. Yes, he can suffer, but he cannot die. He is life. He is the Son of God. He is God. God does not die. Does he not die? Then why has he been named Jesus? What does Jesus mean? It means Savior. He is dead. He is dead because he is the Savior. He had to save everybody, losing himself. I am not raving. No, I am not mad. No, I wish I were. I should suffer less. He is dead. Here is his blood. Here is his crown. Here are the 3 nails. They have pierced him with them. Men, look with what you have pierced God, my son. And I must forgive you, and I must love you, because he has forgiven you, because he told me to love you. He made me your mother, the mother of the killers of my child. One of his last words, struggling against the death rattle at his agony. Mother, here is your son, your sons. Even if it were not she who obeys, even if I were not she who obeys, today I would have had to obey, because it was the order of a dying man. So Jesus, I forgive. I love them. My heart breaks in this forgiveness and in this love. Do you hear that I am forgiving them and loving them? I am praying for them. Yes, I am praying for them. I am closing my eyes not to see these objects of your torture, to be able to forgive them, love them, and pray for them. Each nail serves to crucify a will of mine, not to forgive, not to love, not to pray for your executioners. I must. I want to think I am near your cradle. Also then I prayed for men. But it was easy then. You were alive, and I, although I thought that men were cruel, I never went so far as to think that they could be so cruel to you, who had assisted them excessively. I prayed, and I was convinced that your word would make them better men. In my heart I said to them, looking at them, you are bad, diseased now, brothers. But before long he will speak. Before long he will defeat Satan in you. He will give you the life lost. The life lost, it is you who have lost your life for them, my Jesus. If, when you were in your swaddling clothes, I had seen all today's horror, my sweet milk would have turned into poison through grief. Simeon said so, and a sword will pierce your heart. A sword, a mass of swords. How many wounds did they inflict on you, son? How many groans did you utter? From how many spasms did you suffer? How many drops of blood did you shed? Well, each of them is a sword in me. I am a mass of swords. There is not a strip of skin on you without sores. In me there is not one that has not been pierced. They pierce my flesh and penetrate my heart. When I was expecting you, I prepared your swaddling clothes and napkins, spinning the softest linen on the earth. I did not mind the price, providing I had the softest cloth. How beautiful you looked in the swaddling clothes made by your mother. Everybody said to me, your child is beautiful, Donna. You were lovely. From the white linen there appeared your rosy little face. Your eyes were bluer than the sky, and your little head seemed enveloped in a golden mist, so fair and soft was your hair. It smelt of blossoms of almond trees. People thought that I put scent on you. No, my darling had but the scent of the swaddling clothes washed by his mother, warmed and kissed by her heart and lips. I was never tired of working for you. And now I have nothing more to do for you. For 3 years you have been away from home, but you were still the aim of my days. I thought of you, of your clothes, of your food. I kneaded flour and baked bread. I looked after the bees to give you honey. I took care of the trees so they might yield fruit for you. How much you loved the things that your mother brought you. No food of a rich table, no garment of precious cloth was for you like those woven, sewn, taken care of, picked by the hands of your mother. When I came to you, you looked once at my hands as you used to do when you were a little boy, and Joseph and I gave you our poor gifts to make you feel like you were our king. You have never been greedy, my child. It was love that you were seeking, that was your food, and you found it in our attentions. Even now you found it, and were looking for it. Poor son of mine, so little loved by the world. Now, nothing more. Everything has been accomplished. Your mother will not do anything any more for you. You no longer need anything. Now you are alone, and I am alone. O happy Joseph, who has not seen this day. I wish I had never seen it either. But in that case, you would not have had even this comfort of seeing your poor mother. You would have been all alone on the cross, as you are all alone in the sepulchre, all alone with your wounds. O God, God, how many wounds has your son, my son? How was I able to see them without dying? Whereas I almost fainted every time you hurt yourself when you were a child. Once you fell in the kitchen garden in Nazareth and you hurt your forehead. Only a few drops of blood, but I, who felt I was dying when I saw the drops of your blood at the circumcision, and Joseph had to support me as I was shaking like one who is dying, I thought that tiny cut would kill you, and I cured it more with my tears than with water and oil, and I was not at peace until I saw that it no longer bled. Another time you were learning to work and you hurt yourself with a saw, a slight wound, but I felt as if the saw had cut me in two. I had no rest until 6 days later when I saw your hand healed. And now you have your hands, feet, side ripped. Now your flesh is falling in pieces. Your face is bruised, that face which I did not dare to touch lightly with a kiss. And your forehead and the nape of your neck are ulcerated, and no one gave you medicament or comfort. Look at my heart, God, who have struck me in my child. Look at it. It is not as covered with sores as the body of your son. Is it not as covered with sores as the body of your son and mine? The scourges have come down on me like hailstones while he was being lashed. What is distance for love? I suffered the torture of my son. I wish I alone had suffered it, and that I alone were on the sepulchre stone. Look at me, God, my heart. Is my heart not bleeding? Here is the circle of thorns. I can feel it. It is a band that squeezes and pierces it. Here is the hole of the nails, 3 stylets driven into my heart. Oh, those blows. How did heaven not collapse because of those sacrilegious blows on the flesh of God? And not being able to shout, not being able to rush forward and snatch the weapon from the killers and use it to defend my child who was already dying, but having to hear and not do anything. A stroke on the nail, and the nail penetrates the living flesh. Another stroke, and it penetrates even more, and another, and bones and nerves break, and the flesh of my child is pierced, and the heart of his mother. And when they raised you on your cross, how much you must have suffered, Holy Son. I can still see your hand torn by the shock of the drop, and my heart is torn likewise. I am bruised, scourged, stung, struck, pierced like you. I was not with you on the cross, but look at your mother. Is she different from you? No, there is no difference of martyrdom. On the contrary, yours is over. Mine is still on. You no longer hear the false charges. I do. You no longer hear the horrible curses. I still hear them. You no longer feel the bites of thorns and nails. You are no longer parched or feverish. I am full of points of fire, and I am like one who is dying of thirst and delirious fever. If they had even allowed me to give you a drop of water, my tears, if the ferocity of men denied the Creator the water created by him. I gave you suck for a long time because we were poor, my son, and in our flight into Egypt we had lost so much, and we had to get a new home, furniture, clothes, and food, and we did not know how long the exile would last, or what we would have found going back to our country. I gave you suck longer than the usual period of time, so that you might not feel the lack of food, until we got the little goat. I was your little goat, child of your mummy. You already had so many little teeth, and you used to bite. Oh, what a joy to see you laugh in your childish games. You wanted to walk. You were so healthy and strong. I held you up for hours and hours, and I did not feel my back break being bent over you. You were taking your first steps, and at each step you would say, Mummy, Mummy. Oh, what a beatitude to hear you sing that name. And today you were saying, Mother, Mother. But your mother could only see you die. I could not even caress your feet. Your feet. Ah, even if they had been within reach, I would not have been able to touch them, to avoid increasing your torture. How much your poor feet must have suffered, oh my Jesus. If only I could have gone up to you and placed myself between the wood and your body, and prevented you from rubbing against the wood in the convulsions of agony. I can hear your head knock against the wood in the last gasps, and that sound drives me mad. It is in my head like a hammer. Come back, my dear holy son. I am dying. I cannot bear this desolation of mine. Show me your face once again. Call me again. I cannot think that you have no voice, no eyes, that you are a cold, lifeless corpse. O Father, assist me. Jesus does not hear me. Is his passion not over? Is it not all accomplished? Are these nails, these thorns, this blood, these tears of mine not sufficient? Is still more required to heal man? Father, I am mentioning the instruments of his sorrow and my tears, but this is the least important. What made him die tortured in a superhuman manner was your abandonment. What makes me shout is your abandonment. I cannot hear you anymore. Where are you, Holy Father? I was full of grace, the angel said. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you, and you are blessed amongst all women. No, it is not true. It is not true. I am like a woman cursed by you for her sin. You are no longer with me. Grace has withdrawn, as if I were a second Eve sinning. But I have always been faithful to you. In what have I displeased you? You have dealt with me as you liked, and I have always said to you, yes, Father, I am ready. So can angels lie? And Anne, who assured me that you would give me your angel in the hour of sorrow? I am alone. I no longer have grace in your eyes. I no longer have you, grace, in me. I no longer have an angel. So do saints lie? In what have I displeased you, if they do not lie, and I have deserved this hour? And Jesus, what wrong has your pure, meek lamb done? In what have we offended you to deserve the incalculable torture of your abandonment, in addition to the martyrdom given by men? He, above all, he was your son, and he called you with that voice that made the earth shudder and shake in a sob of pity. How could you abandon him all alone in such a torture? Poor heart of Jesus, who loved you so much. Where is the sign of the wound of his heart? Here it is. Look, Father, at this sign. This is the impression of my hand that entered the gash of the lance thrust. Here, it cannot be erased either by the tears or the kisses of his mother, whose eyes are dry through weeping and whose lips are consumed through kissing. This sign shouts and reproaches. This sign cries to you from the earth more than Abel's blood. And you who cursed Cain and revenged yourself on him did not intervene on behalf of my Abel, already bled by his Cain's. And you allowed this last outrage. You crushed his heart with your abandonment, and you allowed a man to strip him so that I might see him and be crushed. With regard to me, it does not matter. It is for him that I ask and call you to answer. You should not have done that. Oh, forgive me, Holy Father. Forgive a mother who is mourning her child. He is dead, my son is dead with his heart rent. Oh, Father, have mercy. I love you. We have loved you, and you have loved us so much. How did you allow the heart of our son to be rent? Oh, Father, have mercy on a poor woman. I am blaspheming. Father, I, your servant, your non-entity, dare reproach you. Have mercy. You have been good. You have been good. The wound, the only wound that did not hurt him, is this one. Your abandonment served to make him die before sunset, avoiding other tortures. You have been good. You do everything for a purpose of good. It is we creatures who do not understand. You have been good. You have been good. Oh, my soul, repeat that word to remove the sting of your suffering from your suffering. God is good and has always loved you, my soul. From your cradle to the present moment, he has always loved you. He has given you all the joy of the time, all of it. He has given you himself. He has been good, good, good. Thank you, Lord. May you be blessed for your infinite goodness. Thank you, Jesus. I say thank you also on your behalf. This wound, at least, was not felt by you, son. I only felt it in my heart when I saw yours opened. Your lance is now in my heart, and it rummages and tortures, but it is better so. You do not feel it. But have mercy, Jesus, a sign from you, a caress, a word for your poor mother, whose heart is torn to pieces. A sign, Jesus, if you want me alive when you come back.
A loud knock at the door makes everyone start. The master of the house bravely runs away. Mary of Zebedee would like her John to follow him and pushes him toward the yard. The other women, with the exception of the Magdalene, presses against one another, moaning. It is Mary of Magdala who goes straight and resolutely to the door and asks, "Who is it?" The voice of a woman replies, "I am Nike. I have something to be given to the mother. Open, quick. The patrol is around." John, who has freed himself from his mother and has rushed toward the Magdalene, buries himself with the many locks, which are well fastened this evening. He opens the door, and Nike comes in with a servant and a brawny man who is escorting her. They close the door. "I have a thing," says Nike, weeping, and she is unable to speak. What? They are all around her, full of curiosity. On Calvary, I saw the Savior in that state. I had prepared a loincloth so that he would not have to use the rags of the executioner, but he was so wet with perspiration, with blood in his eyes, that I thought I would give it to him to wipe himself. He did so, and he gave the cloth back to me. I have not used it again, and I wanted to keep it as a relic with his perspiration and blood. And seeing the fury of the Jews shortly afterwards, with Plutonia and the other Roman ladies, Lydia and Valeria, we decided to come back for fear that they might take this linen cloth from us. The Romans are brave women. They put the servant and me in the middle, and they protected us. It is true that they are contamination for Israel, and that is a dangerous thing to touch Plutonia, but one thinks of that in peaceful times. Today they were all drunk. At home I wept for hours. Then there was the earthquake and I fainted. Then I came to myself and I wanted to kiss that linen cloth, and I saw, oh, the face of the Redeemer is on it. Let us see, let us see. No, the mother first. It is her right. She is so exhausted, she will not be able to resist. Oh, don't say that. On the contrary, I will comfort her. Tell her. And John knocks at the door lightly. Who is it? It is I, Mother. Nike is here. She came during the night. She brought a souvenir for you, a gift. She hopes to comfort you with it. Oh, one gift only can comfort me, the smile of his face. Mother, John embraces her, lest she falls, and as he were confiding the truth of God, he says, it is the smile of his face impressed on a linen cloth with which Nike wiped his face on Calvary. O Father, Most High God, Holy God, Eternal Love, may you be blessed. The sign I asked for. Let her come in. And Mary sits down because she cannot stand any longer. And while John beckons to the woman who was peeping into the room to let Nike pass, she recovers herself. Nike goes in and kneels at her feet with the servant beside her. John, standing nearby, holds his arms around Mary's shoulders as if he wanted to support her. Nike does not utter one word, but she opens the casket, takes the linen cloth out and unfolds it. And the face of Jesus, the living face of Jesus, the sorrowful and yet smiling face of Jesus, looks at his mother and smiles at her. Mary utters a cry of sorrowful love and stretches out her arms. The women echo her cry from the door space where they have crowded, and they imitate her kneeling before the face of the Savior. Nike cannot find words. She hands the linen cloth over to the motherly hands, and she stoops to kiss its edge. She then goes out backwards without waiting for Mary to come out of her ecstasy. She goes away. She is already out in the night. When they think of her, there is nothing to be done except to close the door as it was before. Mary is once again alone, in a conversation of her soul with the image of her Son, because they all withdrew again. Some more time has gone by. Then Martha says, "What shall we do for the ointments? Tomorrow is the Sabbath." "We shall not be able to get anything," says Salome, "and we should do that, many pounds of aloe and myrrh, because he was so badly washed. We ought to have everything ready by dawn of the first day after the Sabbath," remarks Mary of Alphaeus. "And what about the guards? What shall we do?" asks Susanna. "We shall tell Joseph. If they do not let us go in," replies Martha, "we shall not be able to shift the stone by ourselves." The Magdalene replies, "Oh, do you think that 5 of us will not be able? We are all strong, and love will do the rest." "In any case, I will come with you," said John. "Certainly you will. I do not want to lose you as well, son. Don't worry about it. We shall be enough. But in the meantime, who will give us the spices?" They are all depressed. Then Martha says, "We could have asked Nike whether it was true about Johanna, about the rebellions." "That is true, but we are dull-witted. We could have taken also the spices then. Isaac was at the doorway when we came back. In the mansion there are many small vases of essences, and there is some fine incense. I will go and get them. And Mary Magdalene stands up from her seat and puts on her mantle. And Martha shouts, "You shall not go." "I will go." "Are you mad? They will get you." "Your sister is right. Don't go." "Oh, what useless howling females you are." Jesus really had a fine group of followers. You are already used up your reserve of courage and regard to me, and the more I use, the more I get. I will go with her. I am a man. And I am your mother, and I forbid it. Be good, Mary Salome, and you too, John. I will go by myself. I am not afraid. I know what it is like going around the streets at night. I have done that thousands of times for sinful reasons, and should be afraid now. No. And should I be afraid now that I am going to serve the Son of God? But there is a revolt in town today. You heard what the man said. He is faint-hearted, and you are like him. I am going. And if the soldiers find you, I will say, I am the daughter of Theophilus the Syrian, a faithful servant of Caesar, and they will let me go. In any case, a man before a beautiful young woman is a more harmless plaything than a stalk of straw. I know, much to my shame. But now, do you expect to find perfumes in the mansion if no one lived in it? Is it yours? Oh, no one had lived in it. It's been years. Do you think so? Oh, Martha, do you not remember that Israel forced you to leave it because it was one of my meeting places with my lovers? I kept everything there that served to make them even more crazy about me. When I was saved by my Savior in a place known only to me, I concealed the alabaster and the incense that I used for my orgies of love, and I swore that only the tears shed on my sin and the adoration of the most holy Jesus would be the scented waters and the burning incense, of reputation, and that I would use these signs of a profane cult of senses and of the flesh only to sanctify them on him and to anoint him. This is the hour I am going. Remain here and be calm. The angel of God will come with me, and no harm will befall me. Goodbye. I will bring you news, and do not say anything to her. You would increase her worries. And Mary of Magdala goes out, sure of herself and imposing. Mother, let this be a lesson to you, and many it says to you, do not let the world say that your son is a coward. Tomorrow, no, today, because this is already the second watch, I will go looking for my companions, as she wants. It is the Sabbath, you cannot, objects Salome to detain him. The Sabbath is dead, I also say with Joseph. The new era has begun. Other laws, other sacrifices, and ceremonies. Mary of Salome bends her head on her knees and weeps without protesting anymore. Oh, I wished I could have news of Lazarus. Excuse me. Says Mary of Calopas with a moan. If you let me go, you will have news, because Simon the Cyrenian has instructions to take my companions to Lazarus. Jesus told Simon when I was present. Alas, are they all there? So they are all, or are they all lost? Mary of Clopas and Salome weep desperately. More time passes while they are weeping, and they wait and weep. Then Mary Magdalene comes back triumphantly, laden with bags full of small, precious vases. See, nothing has happened to me. Here are the oils of all kinds, and balms and benzoins. There is no myrrh and no aloe. I did not want any bitterness. I am drinking it all now. In the meantime, we will mix these, and tomorrow we will get, if we pay Isaac, we will give them also on the Sabbath, and we will get myrrh and aloe. Did anyone see you? No one. There is not even a bat around. And the soldiers? The soldiers, I think they must be snoring in their pallets. They also, what about the seduction, the arrest? The fear of that man saw them. Who is in the mansion? Levi and his wife, as peaceful as children, and the armed men fled. Fine, brave men we have, honestly. They ran away as soon as they heard of the death sentence. I tell you the truth. Rome is hard and uses the scourge, but by it she makes people fear her and serve her. And she has men, not cowards. Oh yes, he used to say, my followers will experience the same destiny as mine. In many Romans are followers of Jesus. That may be true, but if there are to be martyrs among the Israelites, he will remain alone. Here, this is my sack, and this one is Johanna's, who, yes, we are not only cowards, but also liars. Johanna is only depressed. She and Elias felt ill on Golgotha. One is a mother whose son died, and as she heard the death rattles of Jesus, she was badly upset. The other is delicate and not used to so much walking and exposure to the sun. But there are no wounds and no agonies. She certainly weeps as we do, but nothing else. She regrets that she was taken away. She will come tomorrow, and she sends these spices, the ones that had, as ordered by Plutonia, have remained with her, and now she has gone with the slave to Claudia's house because they have much incense. When she comes, because she too, by the grace of heaven, is not an ever-trembling coward, don't start shouting as if you felt the dagger in your throat. Come on, get up, let us make the mortgage and work. Weeping is of no avail, or at least weep and work. Our bombs will be mixed with our tears, and we will feel them upon, and he will feel them upon himself. He will feel our love. And she bites her lip not to weep and to give strength to the others who are really depressed. They work eagerly. Mary calls John. Mother, what is the matter? Those blows, they are pounding incense. Oh, but forgive me, don't make that noise. They sound like the hammers. In fact, the bronze pestles striking the marble of the mortars make the exact noise of hammers. John tells the women who go out into the yard in order not to be heard so much, and John goes back to the mother. How did they get them? Mary of Lazarus went to her house and to Johanna's, and some more will be brought. Did anybody come? Nobody after Nike. But look at him, John, how handsome he is in his sorrow. Mary is absorbed in contemplation, and her hands join before the cloth, which she has spread out on a chest, holding it with some weights. Handsome, yes, mother, and he is smiling at you. Do not weep any more. Some hours have already gone by. There is less to wait for his return. And in the meantime, John weeps. Mary caresses his cheek, but she looks only at the image of her son. John goes out, blinded by his tears. Also the Magdalene, who has come back to get some amphoras, is in the same state. But she says to the apostle, we must not let them see that we are weeping, because otherwise the women over there will not be able to do anything, and we have to do. And we have to believe, concludes John. Yes, we must believe. If one were not able to believe, it would be despair. I believe, and you? I too. You said so boldly, you do not love enough. If you loved with your whole self, it would not be possible for you not to believe. Love is light and voice, and against the darkness of denial and the silence of death I say, I believe. Wonderful is the Magdalene, so great and imposing, authoritatively in her confession of faith. Her heart must be torn to pieces, and her eyes inflamed by tears confirm that she is, but her spirit is undefeated. John looks at her, full of admiration, and whispers, "You are strong." Always I was so much that I dared to defy the world, and I was then without God. Now that I have him, I feel I know how to defy also hell. You who are good should be stronger than I am, because sin disheartens, more than consumption, but you are innocent. That is why he loved you so much. He loved you as well, and I am not innocent, but I am his conquest. And there is a loud knock at the door. It was Valeria. Open the door. And John does so without any fear. It is dominated by Mary's calm, and it is the fact that Valeria and her slave, who are carrying the litter from which she comes off, she goes in uttering the Latin greeting, "Slave, peace be with you, sister." "Come in," says John. "May I offer the mother the homage of Plutonia? Claudia also has contributed, and if it is not grievous for her to see me." John goes into Mary. Who is knocking? Who is knocking? Peter, Judas, Joseph? No, it is Valeria. She has brought some precious resins. She would like to offer them to you, if that does not grieve you. I must overcome grief. He called the children of Israel and the heathens to his kingdom. He called everybody. Now he is dead. But I am here for him and receive everything. Let her come in. And Valeria enters. She has taken off her dark mantle, and she is all white in her stole. She stoops to the ground. She greets and speaks. You know who we are, the first woman redeemed from the heathens. We were dirt and darkness. Your Son has given us wings and light. Now he is sleeping in peace. We know your customs, and we want also the balms of Rome to be spread on the triumphant. May God bless you, daughters of my Lord, and forgive me if I am not able to say more. Do not make any effort, Domica. Rome is strong, but she can also understand grief and love. She understands you, sorrowful mother. Goodbye. Peace be with you, Valeria. My blessings to Petunia, to all of you. And Valeria withdraws, leaving her incense and other essentials. So, Mother, the whole world is making offerings to the King of heaven and earth. Yes, says Mary, the whole world, and his mother will have been able to give him nothing but tears. A cock crows joyfully somewhere nearby, and John startles. What is the matter, John? Asked the Blessed Virgin. Oh, I was thinking of Simon Peter. But was he not with you? Asked the Magdalene, who had come back into the room. Yes, in Anna's house, but I understood that I had to come here, and I have not seen him again. It will be dawn soon. Yes, let's open the windows. They open the window coverings, and their faces look even waner in the green dawn light. The night of Good Friday is over.
That's the reading for Holy Saturday. Blessings and peace to you as you contemplate these things, the suffering of our mother and John and the Magdalene and the continuous work they were doing on themselves to continue the journey of Jesus through his death and into his resurrection, and to hold the faith. We'll see you tomorrow morning at the Easter service.